Okay, so for these, it's a little bit confusing to switch from, if you grew up with US customary units, it's hard to switch to metric, and vice versa. If you grew up with metric, the US units are hard to understand. So as far as this is volumes, so in the metric system, in the US system, we use like gallons, right? And ounces and pints and quarts. In the metric system, it's all liters. So milliliters, liters, and they have kiloliters, but we use mainly milliliters and liters. And a milliliter is like an eyedropper full. So you guys will use milliliters a lot for measuring medication, because it's like 1 milliliter is like 1 drop. And then you guys all know what a 2-liter bottle looks like, right? Like a 2 liter of soda, which is about a half a gallon. So basically anything that we would measure in gallons, pints, or quarts will probably be measured in liters. And anything that you would measure in ounces or something smaller than ounces, you're going to measure in milliliters. And then anything that you would measure in inches, you're going to measure in centimeters. So a centimeter is about half an inch. So anything you would measure in inches, you're going to measure in centimeters. And a millimeter is really tiny. So it's about the width of a pen point. So the end of my pen, I don't know if you can see my pen, but the end of my pen is, the tip is about 1 millimeter. And then a meter is about a yard. So usually anything that we measure in feet, you're going to measure in meters. Anything we would measure in feet or yards, you're going to measure in meters. Anything that you would measure in inches, you're going to measure in centimeters, and anything really tiny would be in millimeters. And then kilometers, you would use for anything you would measure in miles, you would measure in kilometers. And then as far as weight, anything that you would measure in pounds, you're going to measure in kilograms. And anything you would measure in ounces, you're going to measure in grams. And a gram is really light, very, very light. A piece of paper weighs about a gram. But anything that you would measure in pounds, you're going to measure in kilograms. So here, in her shower, Maria used about 110. So in our system, we would measure this in gallons. So it's going to be liters. So anything that we measure in gallons, we're going to measure in liters, because milliliters would be like an eyedropper. So that would be like 110 drops of water, and she would use way more than that, right? And then the space bar on a keyboard is about 10. So the space bar is about the length of a pen. I would measure that in inches. So this would be measured in centimeters. Remember, a centimeter is about half an inch. So 10 centimeters would be about 5 inches. And then the mass of a baseball is about 145. If we used kilograms, this would be like way heavier than a person, because I think people weigh about like 50 kilograms. So this is going to be measured in grams, because we wouldn't measure that in pounds, and it certainly wouldn't be 145 pounds. So that's kind of how you do them. So a jet airplane flew about, it would be basically a plane flies like miles above the ground. If I put in meters, this would not even be the length of a football field. So this is going to be kilometers above the ground, because planes fly miles above the ground. And then Salma's refrigerator has a mass of 78. This is a refrigerator. This is really heavy. So this is going to be kilograms, because I would measure it in pounds. And a bucket holds 5, again, milliliters are like drops. So this is going to be liters. So does that help?